Iran has accused Israel of killing 7 officers in a strike on the Iranian consulate building in Syria's capital, Damascus, marking a major escalation in Israel's war with its regional adversaries.
이란이 시리아 수도 마다스쿠스의 이란 영사관 건물이 파괴돼 군 간부 7명이 사망한 사건의 배후로 이스라엘을 지목해 비난하면서 이스라엘과 주변 적대국들 간의 전쟁이 격화되는 양상을 보이고 있습니다. Tell us more, Karen.
So suspected Israeli warplanes bombed Iran's embassy in Syria on Monday in a strike that Iran has said that it's killed 7 of its military advisors, including 3 senior commanders. So Israel has long targeted Iran's military installations in Syria and those of its proxies, but Monday's attack was the first time Israel hit the vast embassy compound itself. So the military, Israel's military has escalated airstrikes in Syria against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Iranian-backed Lebanese armed group Hezbollah, both of which support Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Israel has said that, they haven't come out and said, we did this, but they have mentioned that they've acknowledged carrying out hundreds of strikes in recent years on targets in Syria that it says, of course, is linked to these armed groups. And they've stepped up these strikes since the start of the war in Gaza in October last year in response to cross-border attacks on northern Israel by Hezbollah and other Iran-backed groups in Lebanon and Syria.
네, 그러니까 최근에 있었던 이 이란 영사관 폭격 사건의 배후에 이란이 주장하기로는 이스라엘이 있을 것이다. 그러니 이제 앞으로 이란이 이스라엘에 대해서 보복을 하겠다. 이런 얘기를 하는 거죠. 그래서 지금 중동 지역의 확전에 대한 우려가 커지고 있는데
Yeah.
이스라엘 측에서는 사실 공식 입장을 내지 않고 있습니다.
Yeah.
네. 자, 그럼 첫 번째 표현을 한번 볼게요. Major escalation.
Right. So when when we talk about escalations, it's an increase in the intensity or seriousness of something, an intensification, but it's a major escalation, which
Right.
means that it's far-reaching or it's a bigger escalation.
그렇죠. 에스컬레이터를 타면은 우리가 올라간다는 인상을 그 이미지를 가지면 될 것 같아요.
Yeah.
물론 에스컬레이터를 타고 내려오기도 하지만 영어에서 escalate라는 단어는 올라간다라는 의미만 가지고 있습니다. 그래서 major escalation은 안 그래도 안 좋은 상황이 더 악화된다라는 뜻이에요. So if a fight escalates or a quarrel escalates, then it gets worse and worse.
It becomes more serious. Yeah.
그렇죠. 네,
Yeah.
그래서 점점 더 격화되는 상황을 a major escalation이라고 볼 수 있겠고 What's an adversary?
Right. Adversary is like your opponent in a contest, conflict, or dispute. You could also use this interchangeably with enemy or foe.
네, adversary가 enemy라는 의미, 적대자라는 뜻입니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Iran has accused Israel of killing 7 officers in a strike on the Iranian consulate building in Syria's capital, Damascus, marking a major escalation in Israel's war with its regional adversaries. Let's move on to the next headline.
An increasing number of young adults in the U.S. are choosing to enroll in vocational training programs, such as soldering and plumbing, fueled by growing disenchantment with college education.
미국에서 대학 교육에 대한 회의감이 확산되면서 용접과 배관 등의 직업 교육을 받는 쪽을 택하는 청년들이 갈수록 늘고 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. 그러니까 이제 그 전통적인 공부 말고
Yeah.
기술을 배우겠다.
Right. So the Wall Street Journal, it ran a feature called How Gen Z is Becoming the Tool Belt Generation. They're saying that more young workers are going into trades as disenchantment with the college track continues and rising pay, and new technologies are actually making these plumbing and electrical jobs seem more shiny and sparkly and
Yeah.
something that they could pursue. And also, I think a lot of different factors are adding into this, but in the U.S., they've had a labor shortage. So that's driven up the prices for what people usually charge. And college tuition fees have gotten very expensive. So, and then with the, advancement of AI and technology, there's been a lot of reports saying that in the future, I think I read something about what will happen to us. What will the future look like in 64 or something like that. And they were saying that a lot of the jobs that we consider to be very prestigious these days will not be prestigious
Right.
in the future, but manual labor and doing something with your, body, with your physical strength might be more prestigious 40, 50 years from now. So I think that's also affecting what a lot of children, or not children, but the Gen Z, what
Right,
they're thinking these days.
네, 그렇죠. 지금의 이제 Gen Z, Generation Z 젊은 층이 미국에서 학위보다는 기술을 배우겠다 이런 쪽으로 가고 있다고 해요. 그래서 직업 교육을 vocational training program이라고 하는데 vacation이 아니라 vocation이라는 단어가 바로 직업이라는 뜻이 되겠고요. 거기에 등록을 하고 있다. enroll, 그러니까 school에 enroll 하지 않고 이런 vocational training program에 enroll하다. 이게 to sign up for 이런 뜻이겠죠.
Right. So if you're enrolling in something, you're putting yourself or someone else on an official list for an activity or for a membership in that group, or it could be for a school or some sort of training program.
그래서 학교에 등록하는 것을 enroll in university or enroll in the school 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 그 다음에 왜 그러느냐? It's because of this disenchantment with college education.
Right. So they're thinking that it's not worth the money because it's so expensive. So when you're disenchanted with something, or if you're feeling disenchantment, it's a feeling of no longer believing in the value of something, especially after, having learned of the problems with it.
enchantment라는 뜻이 뭔가 이렇게 magical하고 아름답고 좋고 기쁘고 황홀하고 이 뜻이잖아요.
Like when you go to Disneyland or Disney World,
맞아.
you feel enchantment. Yeah.
그렇죠. 그런데 그런 아주 너무나 아름답고 좋고 마법 같다라는 느낌의 반대니까 disenchantment니까 회의감, 실망, 심지어 좀 심하게 말하면 환멸 이렇게까지 볼 수 있을 것
I mean, because we grew up, growing up, we've always heard get a good education, it will lead to a good job, you'll be paid a high salary, but apparently this isn't happening.
그러니까 마치
You're in
어떤
debt.
환상이 깨지는 것 같은 기분이죠. 그 학위 내가 보니까 있어도 내 선배들은 직업 못 구하던데 그럴 바에는 난 대학보다는 직업 학교에 가겠어 하는 Gen Z어들이 많다라는 얘기네요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. An increasing number of young adults in the US are choosing to enroll in vocational training programs such as soldering and plumbing, fueled by growing disenchantment with college education. And let's move on to our final story.
The White House Correspondents Association has warned journalists to stop stealing souvenirs, including branded pillowcases, glasses, and gold-rimmed plates from the president's official aircraft, Air Force One.
미국 백악관 기자협회는 기자들에게 대통령 전용기인 에어포스 원에서 기내 로고가 새겨진 베개 커버, 유리잔, 금태 접시 등의 물품을 무단으로 가져가지 말라는 경고를 내렸습니다. I guess a lot of people were taking these thinking they were freebies.
Yeah, so maybe they thought it was a hotel. I'm not sure, but they ran an
Free amenities.
They ran an inventory check on Air Force One after President Biden's visit to the U.S. West Coast back in February, and they found several items were missing from its press section. So the pillowcases that we're talking about, they probably say like Air Force One or the U.S. President Joe Biden, something like that. Glasses, gold rim plates were among the items that have allegedly vanished from the jet.
Okay.
So the White House Correspondents Association, they've warned taking items from the plane is forbidden. And last month, they sent an email to reporters to say that such behavior reflects poorly on the press pool and the group of journalists who travel with the president, and it must stop. So they do say that they are already given little souvenirs when they are on Air Force One, like small
pack of
packages of
chocolates.
chocolate. Yeah. So, and it has the president's seal on it, so they can take that, but don't take the plates or don't take the pillowcases.
네, 그래요. 에어포스 원 대통령 전용기죠. 미국 대통령의 전용기를 타게 되면은 일단 작은 초콜릿을 받는데요. 근데 거기에 이제 presidential 로고가 있어서 요거는 가져가는 게 이제 가능하고 그 외에는 사실 가져가지 않는 게 맞지만 그동안에 많이들 가져갔답니다.
Yeah, apparently it's
quite
been kind of a
commonplace.
it's been a tradition, I guess. And who wouldn't? It's kind of nice, you know. I was here. I was on Air Force One.
It's
I had
not
to
an
take back
experience
something.
you can experience often.
Yeah, and not something that you eat and throw away.
그러게 말입니다. This was according to the White House Correspondents Association.
Right. So a correspondent is a person that's employed by a newspaper, it could be a TV station, to report on a particular subject or send reports from a foreign country. So we hear of White House correspondents all the time. That reporter or journalist is at the White House reporting on what's going on there. There could also be a war correspondent who reports on what's going on, the updates that are going on from a specific region that has been affected with war.
네, 기자나 특파원, 통신원을 correspondent라고 합니다. 자, 그다음에 branded items.
Yeah, so when we talk about something that's branded, we're talking about goods or merchandise that have been marked or labeled by a distinctive word or symbol indicating exclusive rights, or, in this case, it would have Air Force One or the U.S. Office of the President or something like that that's marked on there.
그렇죠. branded라는 게 어떤 상표가 붙었다라는 뜻입니다. Air Force One 아니면 President Biden 뭔가 있겠죠.
Yeah.
궁금하네요. 어떻게 생겼는지. 근데 이게 branded items를 사람들이 많이 가져가서 기자들이요. 그렇게 하지 말라는 백악관 측의 부탁이
It must stop.
네, 공고가 이렇게 나왔답니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The White House Correspondents Association has warned journalists to stop stealing souvenirs, including branded pillowcases, glasses, and gold-rimmed plates from the president's official aircraft, Air Force One. Well, that's it for the headlines with Karen.